Hi everyone, so now we will see how to do the development with a bilayer top sample. Here I took the bilayer top sample after spin coating and patterning them with the NanoFrazor. So what do we have to do? We can also follow what's written in the recipe book, it's very useful. So we will use a mixture of DI water and IPA, specifically 2.5 ml of DI water and 47.5 ml of IPA, because we're using PMMAMA and we are fine with using water in this process, for example. If you want to look for alternative development solutions, you can still find them in the recipe book. This is the most common and should give us a development rate of around 1 nanometer per second. What I suggest you is to always make sure that the development rate is actually 1 nanometer per second. So first, maybe fabricate a bilayer lift-off sample, make a scratch, try to do development, and measure with an AFM or also with a NanoFrazor the removed material. And by doing this, you should know exactly what is your development rate to have an optimized process. So now let's move to our solution. Of course, making the solution should be quite easy. We have 2.5 ml of DI water. My recommendation is that if you make a bulk amount of solution, then you should have also a more precise amount of material inside. Here we are at around 2.5 ml with the water. So let's say if you make 1 liter of solution, of course, your results and development processes of bilayer lift-off are going to be more precise. So this is just a test. But of course, you know how to make a solution. We are just trying to show you the full process. So we need around 50 ml. Okay, now we're good. We place our solution in another cleaned beaker, of course. I also recommend to use possibly the same beaker for your development processes, and maybe stir the solution a little bit before the development, so to make sure that the water and IPA are mixing well. So 30 seconds should do for mixing the solution. I will mix it for a little bit less, but keep in mind that 30 seconds is what we usually recommend. Now I take the sample. First of all, we should wonder how long should we develop. In this case, we have 100 nanometers of PMMAMA, so we want to overdevelop by 50%, so I set a timer with 150 seconds. What I will do is immersing the sample in our solution and then stir it in this direction with 1 round per second, and then after roughly 10 seconds I should invert the direction of the stirring. One thing that's also important to do when doing a development process is preparing a quenching solution. So we'll place here a beaker where we place some IPA. This is necessary because we want to have an accurate development process, so the water is what is etching our PMMAMA, so if we put it in just IPA, it should be enough to block the development effectively. So let's take our sample and let's start the timer. So I start stirring. See, after 10 seconds I invert the rotation direction. And then I go on for 150 seconds. For the sake of the video, we will cut and we will move forward because this is going to be very repetitive. What is also important is try to be as consistent as possible in the way you hold the sample. For example, you can hold it like this, you can hold it like this. So try to always hold it in the same way to have even more repeatability in your experiments. Okay, so now we are done with the development. We immediately put the sample in IPA solution so that the development stops. And we can now grab back the sample. We clean it with IPA. And with some argon. So now the development is done. What we can do is checking that the development was done correctly. This can be done in different ways. Optically, with an optical microscope. We can also check with our NanoFrazor because we can image the surface. So let's put the sample in the NanoFrazor to make sure that we opened well our PMMA layer and we reached indeed the exposed silicon substrate. So let's place the sample in the NanoFrazor and measure with it